So in this episode, I'm going to bring you on a journey of building a turbo manifold for a K-Series MGZR. Let's get it. It absolutely rips. Oh. Handmade, right here in the UK, in my shop. Welcome to NAWFABZ. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to today's video. This is something that I don't really do a lot of in general, and I've definitely not done a lot of on the channel. This Rover K-Series is in today for me to build a turbo manifold. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my channel, you know we don't do many turbo manifolds. Now, that's not because I can't do them. I can do them, I can assure you. There's just, for me, there's not a lot of money doing turbo manifolds. The time it takes, I can sort of like build one turbo manifold to 3 exhaust systems. And when you calculate that money to return ratio, I'm in a lot better money doing exhaust systems than I am doing turbo manifolds. Hence why I usually turn them down. But in this instance, this guy got in touch with me in a bit of a distressed state. He's had this project car ongoing for a while now and he's struggling to find a turbo manifold for it. Now, there is one company that does make turbo manifolds for it. And they're a reasonably good manifold. Looking at the pictures of it, very good price. I said if I was you, you'd be better off ordering that one from them. The reason he doesn't want to order it from them is he says customer service is terrible and you are left waiting for months and months without a manifold after your order. So I said, you know what, fair enough. I know how annoying it is when you've got a project car ongoing, you end up waiting months and months for a part. Now, he has waited about a month for this date to come because I have around a month wait list for fabrication work. I will aim to get this rattled off really, really quickly for him. So yeah, that's today's plan. Now, I know it's random. I wasn't even aware a lot of people were still running K-Series engines, let alone turbo in them. So I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about this car. I wasn't here when he dropped it off. We've spoke on email, we spoke on phone. I'm not sure if engine's built. I'm not sure if it's got pistons in it. I've got absolutely no clue. The only thing I know is I've got this turbo right here. Don't even know what turbo it is, to be honest. Not sure if it's a Garrett replica or what. I genuinely haven't got a clue what turbo it is. All I know, we've got to get it in there. Now, this one is useful because the chap who owns the car happens to have a spare cylinder head and he also has a log style manifold. Now, I think he's had this running before because he's got a downpipe in the boot. He's obviously got the original manifold. So I think at some point he has had it running on this manifold. But I seem to recall him saying that it was not so great for flow, hence why he wants the tubular. Now, this could be useful for us today. I'll explain to you what I explained to him. Now, I'm going to try and get the turbo in the same sort of position so his downpipe will still fit on, so his oil returns and everything will all still be the same, but there's no guarantee on that. This takes up a lot less space than what a tubular is going to. And I'll bring you in closely. We have actually got quite a few things in the way. We've got the alternator in the way, we've got a coolant hose in the way. All of that is going to be difficult to avoid with a tubular manifold and still get this in the same position. So in a second off camera, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a little quick jig of this original manifold that I can bolt to the head. And I can just see if it's even going to be plausible when we put the collector on there, if it's even going to be possible to remotely get it in the same place. If not, I don't think he's that bothered. He's happy for us to probably remake downpipe for it and he'll sort of alter the oil return and oil feed pipe to suit boost pipes, intake, all that sort of stuff. You kind of, when you're doing a turbo manifold, you just kind of just got to wing it and make it happen as it can happen, really. So, in my box of goodies here, I have got a load of bends. I have got some straights. I have got a K-Series flange, what I ordered off internet, but my good friend Mitch did machine me the holes out a little bit because the holes are a lot smaller than the bends that we're going to be using, so we've just put a recess in them and that will allow our bends to fit in there really nice, really snugly. That'll be a really nice touch. I've got a cast stainless steel collector there. Now, this one does have a wastegate port, which we're going to need to blank because I couldn't really find one without it, but it's no issue. We'll just put a flange on that, blank it, and then I don't know, if he ever changes turbo in future, he's got the option to run external wastegate should he wish to. So that's a starting point. We've got a collector, we've got a head flange, we just need to make a little crude jig to kind of see where that original turbo sits, see if it's even plausible for us to get back in that position. So I'm going to do that now, quickly off camera, and I'll cut back in a second. Okay, so update. My plan, what I had in mind, is not really going to go to plan. We're going to have to come up with something else. I've had a chat with a customer, I've explained the situation to him, so let me show you guys the situation. Here is the original manifold, what he sent with car, which I believe is like off a ZT or something like that. As you can see, it's like a log style manifold. very tight, very compact. And even with that manifold on, it fits like absolute ass. Turbo touch its radiator, it just doesn't fit nice at all. Fits terrible. So I did make this little jig frame, which is probably pretty self-explanatory how it goes. It kind of goes like that. So my plan were to sandwich that in between my flange and cylinder head, and that'd give me the collector position. But as I said, that fits like ass, so it's kind of stupid to replicate it as such. And obviously the tubular manifold is going to have a lot more tubes and have a lot more tubes. Space is very, very, very limited on this car. So we've kind of thrown that idea out window. And what I've done is I've mounted the turbo in the optimum position. What I mean by optimum position is I've mounted it in the only position it can go, really. Bear in mind, we've got to get this downpipe out of there, round there, without absolutely roasting alternator. We've got to get it down past that oil return and through there under subframe. We've also got to think about boost pipes. We've also got to think about oil lines. Now, with the turbo in that position, that factory oil line will bolt straight on. But the problem here is, this is very, very close to these runners. So we're going to have some sort of ram-on style manifold. We're going to have to sort of loop up here on cylinder head to come back down into collector. In person, it looks horribly tight. It looks amazing on camera, but it's actually really, really tight. Also, next problem. When he sent me a picture at turbo, he originally told me it was a T4 flange. And I looked at it and I was like, that is not a T4 flange, that's a T3 flange. Looking at that at a glance or on a picture, looks like a T3 flange. But that is not a T3 flange. That is something else that I've never seen before. So I'm guessing this is a factory ZT turbo that's been bored to a hybrid or something. I'm not sure, I'm unsure. What I can guarantee you is it ain't a T3 and it isn't a T4. So the billet collector what I ordered, well, the cast collector, is of no use to me. So I called up a favour earlier from my mate at machine shop and I said, listen, I need a flange and I need it yesterday. So he's got me that and I'm going to go and fetch it in the morning because it's late on it day today. This weren't even today's job really. This is in for tomorrow and the day after that. So I'll go and collect that flange in the morning and then we're going to have to build a zone collector. So that's going to be the very first thing I'm going to do. We're going to decide on the collector style. We're going to build that and then essentially we've got to link the ports to the collector. Do I think this is going to be able to stay? That's questionable. I think this may well have to have an adjustment. Do I think this rubber pipe's going to like sitting this close to all these manifold tubes? Absolutely not. That's going to get roasted. Probably going to be beneficial to make an aluminium one of these or some sort of heat shield. But these are all problems we're going to have to cross as we get further down the line, really. Downpipe's going to be tight. I'm going to have to modify this a little bit, bring that V-band a little bit closer to that merge point there. That'll give me more space to get out of that. Honestly, guys, this is why I don't do turbo manifolds. They're just a nightmare. They're just a horrible nightmare. Hats off to all you fabricators out there what do these every single day. For me, the time versus reward just doesn't make sense to me. But I've got this car here. I've told this customer I'll get it done, and I'll get it done. So tomorrow, we'll pick up. I'll go and get the flange off my mate. We'll build a collector, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in the morning. So thankfully, I do have a lot of friends in the trade. And sure enough, this morning, I've had a flange machined up, waiting for me, ready to start this job. So, let's get it. I'm not looking forward to this morning. Let me show you. As you can see there now, my flange does match the turbo flange. So if we did a collector where you've got 4 points pointing upwards, it's going to make our life a misery. So what we're going to do is, let me get you some bends and I'm going to try and show you. Here's my box of bends. We're going to try and do like what's called a Y-pipe collector. Now this is what my old friend Booty showed me years ago when he used to do them on PD engines. He'd make it so you'd have 4 of them pointing outwards to each other like that. Now you're probably thinking, well, that one pointing outwards is going to be pointing straight at that coolant housing, and you will be right. But the benefit of doing it that way is we can turn that one to a 45 degrees and it'll be kind of pointing upwards past that coolant. And then what we're going to have to do is sort of come around, loop round, down and round and back onto that one. And then this one will be cylinder 3. We're going to kind of do that loop round onto that one because we kind of want to keep the firing order to go round in a circular pattern. So we kind of like want cylinder 1, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 2. So as it's firing, it'll make a sort of swirl motion in there. That's the old plan of it anyway. So the first thing we need to do is cut 4 90-degree bends into a sort of split and then merge them into one essentially. So we're going to have 4 that all go into one, but they're all going to be pointing outwards like that. So them 2 that are pointing outwards are going to be a dream for cylinder 1 and cylinder 2. it's going to be cylinder 3 and cylinder 4 what's going to be the problem. There's going to have to be a bit of curly whirliness going off. We're going to have to sort of come up, round, and then back in, and send on this one, up, round, and then back in. That's what we're going to have to do for this job. There's no other way around it. Now, I have seen a picture of a manifold for one of these, what somebody makes from off the shelf. The one that the guy was originally going to buy, but he said the customer service were not great. It looks nice, but what I can tell you from looking at it, it will be a bitch to bolt on, because one of the runners practically covers these 2 bolts, so it will be an absolute nightmare to bolt on. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to get mine much better, because I ain't even started yet, but I'm hoping to be able to make it even plausible to bolt on. We shall see. Let's get these cut into a Y pipe. Next thing, we need to get this bolt at turbo now, and we need to start mocking some of these runners up. This is where it's going to be not so fun. Let's get to it. And that's why it's always important to do a trial run, because I can see there that the last one that I just made is no good. It does foul the radiator fan, so I do need to alter that one. But the others, this one, that one, they're all good. As you can see, it is tight as hell, but it's always going to be. But I just need to readjust this end one. So that's the beauty of these model blocks. Let's readjust it and go again. Right, revision 2. Let's give that a whirl, see if that actually fits in. I know it looks a bit duggy now, but it won't do once it's all done. So, I've had a trial run. It fits in the car. Now, there is a few bits what are close, but we're never going to get around that, so that's that. Essentially what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tidy my blooming bench, because look at the state of my bench, looks like a grenade's gone off. So I've got all these parts here now. I'm going to tidy my bench up, make a clear space, and then individually we're going to break each one of these down, and we're going to cut all these pieces, and we're going to make each one of them runners. Now, what's going to be tricky here is we're going to need to weld this one first. We're going to need to weld part of this runner up. This one's going to be the tricky one, because it's difficult to get in, it's difficult to get out. I'm not even sure if it does come in or out, to be honest. But we had to build it this way. Just don't ask me why, but we did. We had to build it that way. We had to keep everything as it is on there. But we're going to take each one of these out. We're going to weld the entire runners up. We're going to weld this one up first, completely all the way to that. Then we're going to weld each. We're going to make each one of these. We're going to weld them all up. Then we're going to tack them onto this very last. This one's going to be the difficult one. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it in, get it out, and weld it. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out on fly. Let's cut some bits then. Guess who's got a lot of welding to do this afternoon? That'll be me. Now we can see we've got a complete manifold. At the moment, 2 of the runners are tacked on, other 2 are just taped on. But here comes the really important part about building a manifold. You need to make sure you assemble it in an order where you can actually get to all the runners to weld them. Now the collector style on mine is actually really nice. It's actually easily to get to all the collector ones. But there is going to be a problem around these N2 here. I'm going to have to snap all this to bits now, which is obviously sounds like 2 steps back, but I basically need to snap all the runners off of the manifold, break it all into parts again. I need to weld the runners up completely, and then we need to assemble it. Now the last weld that I'm going to do on this manifold is going to be this one. You can see here I've already welded that one to that collector there. Now that's because I'll never get to it with those runners assembled, but very difficult to show you on camera. But through there, I will get to that one, it will be a struggle. Now there's always one weld on a manifold, no matter what manifold it is, there is always one weld minimum that is a pain to get to. That will be that weld on this manifold. So yeah, time to break it all to pieces. Let's weld it. This is gonna take a while. So there we have a turbo manifold for an MGZR. Nice looking thing. A few nice features about this. We managed to get the collector in firing order. So we've got cylinder 1, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 2. Whether that actually makes a difference or not, just an old chap once told me that if you're building a turbo manifold, you want to try and keep the firing order. It creates a vortex into turbo. Whether that's absolute BS or not, I don't know. I don't make manifolds often enough and I don't test them enough to actually know if it makes a difference, but we've got it there. Next feature is I've got pretty much all of these runners near enough, damn it, to equal length, which is important on a turbo manifold. If you can get it, it doesn't necessarily matter, but if you can get it, it's always beneficial too. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may notice that since I actually showed you this, at the very last second when I was just welding all this up, I made a change to runner number 4. It did come round and it came up here and swooped back round. It was quite a tight angle. I did that to try and keep it equal length to the others, but problem is, aesthetically, I just didn't like it. It looked terrible. So I did change it. So cylinder number 4 runner is marginally shorter than the others, about 1.5 inches shorter than the other 3. Space is limiting me. It's just not possible to get it any other way and keep it in firing order. Will it make a difference? Absolutely not. It'll make no difference whatsoever, other than it now looks absolutely wicked. So that's it then. All done and dusted. See you in the next video. I wish. We've now got to make downpipe for this thing. Now downpipe is also going to be a challenge in itself. This is going to be really, really tight. We've got alternator in the way, we've got an oil return line that's in an awful position. That's going to be right in the way. We've got oil filter in the way. We've got to get around all of that with a downpipe, which is going to be very, very difficult. But as always, when do I ever disappoint? We always get it one way or another. We might end up pie cutting this, but I really am going to try and avoid it. We'll see. I guess let's get this bolted on and let's see what's going to be involved with this downpipe. Now we do also need to have a chat to him about the top radiator hose. Top radiator hose is very, very problematic. I'm going to have a chat to him later on. What I suggest with this is change the radiator out altogether for an aluminium one with an outlet on the other side. That will pretty much eliminate all those problems in one go. That housing might need a little tweak, but it's aluminium, so I can weld to that. So I'll have a chat to him in a bit and I'll see what he wants to do with that. But at the moment, the stock radiator with that top radiator hose is causing a massive problem. It's going to be really, really close to these runners. If not millimeters away, it's going to get roasted. So option 1 is we're going to build him an aluminium version of that, or option 2 is, if he takes my advice, just swap the radiator out altogether and it will make his radiator pipe routing much nicer. So we'll see what he wants to do. We'll get this bolted on and we'll get this downpipe made. Now I said I really, really wanted to avoid pie cuts on this. Sadly, it's just not going to be possible without. It sits silly close to that alternator wiring and the alternator itself. So unfortunately, we're going to have to make some pie cuts. And that does finally draw an end to this build. Cool little project. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it. I know it's been a little bit fast forwarded, but I can't literally do this in real time, otherwise you'll be watching it for 3 days. But that is a turbo manifold done on an MGZR. Sadly, I can't give this one a rip because it's a bit of an unfinished project, which is a shame. But there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it. If any of you do want me to build a turbo manifold for you, don't bother. I'm joking. I don't really like doing them, guys. I honestly don't like doing them. They take so long for the reward versus time. I can make much more better money doing exhaust systems. I mean, if you have got a one-off build and you cannot get one anywhere else, maybe shoot me a DM, but be prepared to part with a lot of money for me to do it. We'll catch you in the next video, boys and girls. Peace out.